friends to a podcast that's been described as
emotional
and
terrifying.
One guy even said it was
So awesome it will shock you to the core.
finally another podcast about Godzilla and all his giant monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, KES and Slick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast from Odo Island. Welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. Follow us on the internet. Still doing it at Odo Island Pod. I am KES. With me, as always, is a man who, hey, weren't you on MTV Cribs back in the day?
Oh, good Tommy Tallarico reference to start the pod.
You gotta say, yes, I was.
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm also, what am I, a New York Yankees minor league Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Your mother's very proud.
Yes. World record holder. Many other things.
I've been obsessed with it lately. What a rabbit hole to go down. But anyway, this is not a Tommy Tallarico podcast. We are a Godzilla-centric podcast. And this week, we are covering Godzilla once again.
Yes.
Godzilla on the little screen.
on the little screen in your pocket.
Yeah. So we're covering Godzilla Domination, the Game Boy Advance game. What year did this come out? 03, 04?
2002.
2002? Yeah.
Yep.
That was the sweet spot for the GBA. But before we get to the game and the main topic, you got any news for me?
A little bit. Well, we're recording this on a Thursday, so we are recording this before the Godzilla Battle Line Summit that is happening on Sunday, where we will learn about new features for the game, new characters for the game. That's a double crack at the cans right there. Presumably, well, it's already been teased and announced that we will be getting an update in the Battle Line figures. Cass is doing a taste test of his White Claw in High Noon. Interesting.
Tied. They're both great.
Tied? Okay. So, maybe in our next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about that. If you are a fan of Ultraman Decker, like I am, the series is over, but the finale movie is releasing this weekend. I'll be watching that at some point this week. Actually, it's released right now, but I'll be watching that at some point this weekend.
Cool.
Very excited. Not really news, but between our last episode and this episode, I have watched 31 episodes of Kamen Rider 01.
All right.
So that's been fun. Much different of a series than Black Sun. It's Black Sun was very dark and gritty and gory. This is a much more on the wholesome side. This is kind of like if you ever play like an RPG where the Tales of games are kind of like this, where the protagonist is like unwaveringly optimistic in the face of like dire situations, so very uplifting even in the face of danger.
Okay.
So I like it,
So it's like Arnold in Terminator 3. Levity is good.
Funny you mentioned that.
Tension in the face of death.
So, like I said, I'm in 31 out of 45 episodes deep, and I won't spoil too much of it. The general premise is that so the main Kamen Rider guy, named Zaruto, to make the story easier, his grandfather, who he was not very close with, but kind of used to be close with, whatever, owned this company called Hayden Intelligence, and they effectively make replicants. They're called Humagears, but effectively they're replicants. They're people, they're replicants that are meant to serve certain purposes, and they're available to the public.
Basic pleasure models.
They don't do that because this is a very wholesome, family-friendly show. But that would be in Black Sun probably. Right. But it's like they fill roles like carpenters, construction workers, firefighters, whatever, or they're just they could just be companions for humans. And
so basic pleasure models.
Again, it's for the family friendly one. There's no sex talk on this one.
I'm not talking about sex, baby. I'm just talking about basic pleasure.
So
back rubs, massages.
So, but it's all basically AI.
Meals.
Would you stop? It's all AI technology. Doing jobs with painting the AI technology in a positive light. And it's funny because this series just aired about a year and change ago. And I feel like the dialogue around AI integrating into everyday life has changed quite a bit over the course of 1 year. Like, there's literally one episode where like a guy who's like a famous manga artist has like he buys some of these human gears or replicants to essentially do like they're doing AI generated art for his manga comic, and but it's like painted like in a positive light, where I feel like if that episode aired like in the past like 2 months, it would have been a bit more controversial, I think, on that, with all the discourse around AI art.
Yeah, they're taking jobs away from artists.
Yeah, well, this is the artist is using it to make his job easier.
I heard G-Fest is going to have an artist row full of nothing but AI art.
I don't know if that's the funny thing is I don't know if that's a joke or real.
That is a big old joke ski.
It's funny that I couldn't tell it apart.
Listen, you're doing play-by-play. I'm doing color commentary here.
So I'm enjoying it. Very wholesome show.
Cool.
By the next episode that we record, I'll probably have finished watching all 45 episodes and any specials or movies there are. So yeah, this is my news.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, in Rocky IV, Polly got a basic pleasure model robot for his birthday.
The robot was very controversial. Did they like try to cut that robot from the movie at one point?
I mean,
or wasn't there like a desire to cut that robot from the movie at one point?
It plays an integral role in the phone call between Rocky and Apollo.
That's true. That's true.
You can get it here. Anyway, shall we press on then?
Yes, onwards.
All right. So we had a little a curveball this week for you. We were going to do the Game Gear game, but I think neither of us were able to really.
Yeah, so it was the Game Gear one was a Japanese only release. Basically, and I don't think either of us realized it was a real time strategy game primarily with like side scrolling elements. It would have taken we would have had to like install like English patches, or like it would have taken me like forever to translate it manually. So yes, we did a little curveball, or called a little audible, and decided we'll hold off on that because it required more time to get through that game than what we had. So here we are now doing Godzilla Domination for the GBA. Mm-hmm. Would you like a little bit of the table set?
Oh, set my table.
All right,
Mr. Maitre D. So
this game was developed by WayForward. WayForward was referenced on this podcast recently, a few weeks ago, as they were the distributor of Dawn of the Monsters that I talked about, which was developed by 13 AM Games. But they actually developed this game. It was released in 2002, marketed alongside Destroy All Monsters Melee. Mm-hmm. In most regions, not most, in North America, in Europe, that's why it uses the same cover art.
I was going to say, that's how I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Uses the same cover art because it's kind of part of that marketing scheme.
Which was a sweet cover art, so I don't blame them.
Yeah. And, then the European cover art for Destroy All Monsters Melee in this game is not that great, in my opinion.
Oh, well, the one we got was cool.
Yeah, the one we got was really good. And in Japan, it was like literally... It was Godzilla Monster Melee Advanced, and Destroy All Monsters Melee in Japan was Godzilla Monster Melee. Had its own unique art because it was also kind of tying into the release of Tokyo SOS at the same time. So, like, in that cover, everything's kind of like chibi style, but you get Godzilla and Kiryu, who takes the place of Mechagodzilla 2 in-game. 90s Mechagodzilla. Mothra's sprite in the Japanese version is... slightly retooled to look like how she looks in Tokyo SOS, and Godzilla is gray in that game, as opposed to the more movie accurate gray, as opposed to the bright green that we get Hanna-Barbera green.
I was going to say that, but
so there's also some differences in terms of story options. In the Japanese version, there's a handful of gameplay differences, or some gameplay differences between US version and the Japanese version. The Japanese version kind of rearranges some of the levels a little bit, but for the most part, it's kind of the same. There's a few tweaks here and there, but a story option change that is too bad it's not present in the American one. You had 3 different ways you could play the story option in the Japanese one. You either get the regular, just how we played it, just the regular story mode. You get a survival mode, which is basically like the health pickups are limited. It's just basically like a hard mode. Mm. And then there is a rage mode where basically like everybody's rage meters to do your special moves like fills up like insanely fast,
Okay.
both for you and the opponents, and so it's a little bit more
Moves faster.
chaotic.
Yeah.
You know. But the general story of the game is that a meteor appears over Tokyo 2 at some point in the near future, which drives all of Earth's monsters berserk, except for the one that you choose to control. And the story is narrated by Connie Matsu of the Godzilla Watch newsroom. And
Connie.
that's the general. Oh, and of course, and I'm sure this will be a thing that you will discuss more. The soundtrack was done by Jake Kaufman, who is a very prolific video game composer, but I knew him from when we looked him up. I was like, oh, Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
This guy does Shovel Knight. Have you played Shovel Knight?
I have.
Oh, incredible game.
Yep.
Incredible.
Enjoyable.
So that is the table setting there.
It's a good table set. So a little background story on what we did is it was your boy's birthday a few weeks ago, and you came over and helped me celebrate by watching some Elimination Chamber. But before we did that, we threw the we threw the cart into the GBA and we played it.
Yep.
Not on a Raspberry Pi on my TV. No. And so we just selected random. We're like, oh, let's do whoever. And who'd we get?
Got Megalon?
My least favorite of all the options. But it was actually okay. He plays okay.
Yeah.
So we were just like kind of having some drinks pre-gaming for the Elimination Chamber. So we sort of went back and forth on this game. You beat some of the 3-on-1s, the 4-way matches. I had some of the 1-on-1s.
Yep. And then we could have been the drinks, but we spent a lot of time in Mecha King Ghidorah at the end.
So yeah, the ending, we probably each had 10 shots at him before one of us. We'll reveal it later. When we beat the game, basically, it took a while.
Yeah. Well, one thing we learned was that, or I came to realize what I was having trouble with when I was using your Bluetooth controller. I did not realize that it was either like the triggers or the bumpers.
Yeah.
One of them was set to turbo, and so like my jumps were not getting as high, and guard was like basically not working for me. And then when I figured that out, we got a lot better at it.
So the way the controller defaults in GBA is that A and B are obviously the two right and south, like the east south base buttons, but the on the GBA you had the shoulder buttons, and they default to the bumpers and not the triggers. So you were using the triggers and it wasn't working out too well for you.
Nope, I didn't.
You still did really well for like all the other fights and stuff.
Yeah,
but like when it came to the last fight, you're like, I can't. Like my jumps suck.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you were watching me do it. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And it occurred to me that I was, using the trigger turbo options. And I was like, why could I? Because, I think one of the funniest things about this game is that Mecha King Ghidorah is like ginormous.
I love it though.
For a totally inexplicable reason.
Final boss reasons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you got to kind of jump and hit him in the head to like kind of
might as well jump.
Reveal his weak point. And
go ahead and jump.
Yep, and it's just and also just the fact that all your characters could jump so high is incredible to me.
Yeah. So of course we had Megalon. So his attacks were he had the drill claw type of thing.
Yep.
He pooped out a big metal circle as a bomb.
Yep.
And
then he had like a beam.
Yeah, he had like a weird beam that you could do. That was pretty cool. And so like the way the game works is like you're just fighting like maybe one enemy, like another monster, and it's like you're in the cityscape, and it's pretty fun. And then you get like 2-on-1 options where you and the monster you just beat fight another computer monster, so those are really easy. Then you have to like fight 2 of them, so it's a little harder. Then you have to fight 3 of them, it's a little bit harder. And there's like a fatal 4-way where it's everyone against everyone.
Yeah, I liked that it was a fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
Like at first I was like, oh man, is this like a 3-on-1 thing? Then I was like, oh no, this is straight up like a fatal 4-way, like Rumble. I was like, it's kind of cool. So
you're kind of limited to like 6 characters, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the only like real downside of the game itself is like the character selection is pretty limited. But you get like all the main guys there. You got Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, Mechagodzilla, and Megalon.
Yep.
And some of them, some glaring omissions, but I think it's the first time I haven't seen like Gigan in a game.
Yeah, that's I think it seemed like they were like trying to kind of mirror the Melee roster, but decided to leave off Gigan, Anguirus. I wonder why like they didn't make it, whether it was like a cart limitation issue or whatever. But
they had to leave room for like 4 Mecha King Ghidorahs.
We need 2 screens worth of Mecha King Ghidorah, so some of y'all gotta go.
Yeah.
So this plays just very similar to like the King of the Monsters games, like that SNK made. Did you ever play those?
I'm trying to think.
They were like on the Super Nintendo and Neo Geo and stuff.
I played them on, I think, the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, they were on that.
Yeah.
Like those are fun games. I always had the Super Nintendo one. Are the ones that I always played growing up, and this plays very similar to that, where it's just kind of like you're a brawler, like a 2D brawler, in a in a city. But this is like this. I remember like those games like being okay, but like really basic, and I like that this was had a little bit more, the characters were a little bit more unique, and good art style in this game.
Very good art style. That was one of the cool things about the GBA, is that it was basically like a Super Nintendo Pro.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked the art style of all the characters. Kanimatsu is very 2000s, very very early 2000s. Like it's
she reminded me of like a WWE Divas contestant,
or like should have been like a character like marketing like Surge or Jolt Soda or something like that.
Stacker
like
2 commercials.
Just they have her like there's like one part where like you're in a glacier and she's like wearing like a winter jacket with like exposed midriff.
Yep.
Like just very like if you like grew up between like the late 90s and the early 2000s, like this is a very common aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like is what this is. It was kind of nostalgic almost in a way.
I'm surprised she didn't have her thong kind of pulled up a little bit.
Just to kind of complete like that like I feel exactly. That's like
it was something girls did back then.
It was like every like 90s music video was like late 90s, early 2000s music video was cut like that. So
she could have been the 6th Spice Girl.
I mean, I'm surprised that she was not drinking Mountain Dew at some point. I don't know. It just everything just screwed. Like 2002 is kind of like we're starting to move away from like that late 90s like edge, and this is like kind of like the last grasp of it. But
yeah, we're getting away from the mullets and we're getting into the spiky hair and chin strap beards.
Yeah, some frosted tips.
Yeah.
But I like that she's there to kind of move the story along. That is a nice little touch.
Connie exposition, yeah.
Yeah, Connie exposition. And every character gets their own ending, which is cool.
I didn't see all of them. Sorry.
I went on YouTube to look some of them up. The one I liked the most was King Ghidorah, who's just like, well, he's like just going off now to probably destroy some other planet. But if he comes back, is he going to be like the new villain? If he comes back, or like because they pretty much just say he's like basically the worst villain ever. And he's just like, but Mecha King Ghidorah was just like, a little bit of a sidetrack for him, which is weird. But anyway, but there's
a version 6 times bigger than himself with a metal head.
But his like ending graphic is like him just like literally flying into space towards some random planet and just like, yes, you have to go destroy some random planets in space. Will that keep him busy? Will that prevent him from coming back to us? And I was like, it's a good ending for him.
Or maybe the Mecha King Ghidorah is King Ghidorah who flies away and there's a time rift.
Yeah, it's a little timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly
so
Doctor Who type thing going on.
The end fight is a paradox.
Could. Yeah. He just ceases to exist. Yeah. That would have been awesome.
But yeah, I think one of the only things I didn't really enjoy about this game were the bonus stages.
Oh, yes. You had a hard time with the bonus stages.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was not a fun time for me.
Yeah. They're kind of like Galaga-style bonus stages where a bunch of UFOs come in. You got to kind of destroy them and rank up points. And
I kept on being too late. It's not because there's lag in our Raspberry Pi. We played this on a GBA. It's because I kept on tapping the button just a little bit too late, and like all the ships would just fly into me. I'm just like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it always seemed like whatever we were doing, we were kind of going back and forth from like level to level or life to life. And the bonus stages always just kind of seemed to fall with you.
I did. I anticipated one arriving because I was like, we haven't had a bonus stage in a while, so I just gave you the control. I was like, here you go.
Yeah.
As soon as I was done with the level.
I think my only real complaint, and then maybe we should actually break this down to categories like we usually do.
Yeah.
But I think my only overall general complaint was that I thought the game up until you get to Mecha King Ghidorah was like a little too easy. And that made me kind of wish that the options that like the Japanese version of the game has, I kind of wish we got those.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like that would be a little bit more of a little bit more of a challenge.
I have to download I have to buy the Japanese game off eBay and try that. I haven't tried it yet. I said I was gonna, but I didn't.
Oh, I forgot to mention that I read that the Japanese version had like a special edition release that also came with like some like the finger puppet type things that I have, like those like little figures and stuff. It came with like exclusive ones that were like kind of cast in like a translucent plastic that came with like the special edition release. So a lot of this game was marketing Tokyo SOS at the same time as just Shirel Monsters Melee. So that'd be cool. I'd like to find that version. I don't know if I've ever seen that online anywhere.
Yeah.
So that'd be nifty to have. Right, should we go categories?
Yeah. So why don't we start off with want to do gameplay or graphics? We're going to start with a G.
Let's do the graphics.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, the GBA is like a souped-up Super Nintendo, almost to like PlayStation level, like 32-bit graphics style, but not really. It's just more like when they do 3D, it's just better mode 7, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more like sprite focused than polygon focused in 32 bits. So, but looks like artistic wise, I thought all the models were very distinctive. You were never confused as to like which one was which I feel like could have happened on like the NES or like even like Super Nintendo games. You can get a little confused, but these looked very distinctive. Didn't like Godzilla being green.
Yeah,
because he's not green. Like I get it, but like we're not stupid, so stop treating us like we're fucking stupid.
Well, technically he was green in 2000 in Megaguirus, green shade, but that was also not the Godzilla model that they were using. They were using a very 90s Godzilla style, and that one is charcoal gray.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You made them the right colors in Japan. Why can't you do it here?
Yeah.
Nitpicking, though. I'm nitpicking. The cityscapes, all very distinctive. You had, like, a bright, colorful city. You had, like, a desert. You had, like, an ice level with slippery floors. Space levels. Like, UFO levels. Like, everything was very distinctive. Nothing looked the same. Nothing looked like copy and paste, lazy, or anything like that. So I give the graphics. I'm going to give them the good 4-star rating for me.
I think I'm with you on that. I mean, you said a lot of, I'd just be repeating a lot of what you said, but I really like the art style. Like they're kind of cartoony, but like not too cartoony. They're very like comic booky type feel. But again, everything's very bright. Everything has like, it felt like it was like all like a stone's throw away from me, like kind of like the Trendmasters art style. I remember like we were talking about like we were like laughing about how like before like a level starts, like you kind of get like a matchup screen, very Street Fighter style, and like Megalon has like the biggest fucking biceps and triceps like on the planet.
He's
like,
on the gas.
He's totally on the gas.
He's gonna be working for New York.
It's just like I don't recall anybody else being even that close to being as jacked in the game, and like. Megalon is like juiced. Like he's got the Hulk Hogan pythons. Like it was he would be a witness in a steroid trial. So that's what he would be. He'd be like, yeah, I saw Mogira inject, King Ghidorah.
I tried to inject him, but I said I couldn't get it in. I said, I think you're full, dude.
So yeah, Megalon's on the juice, just like his Trendmasters figure is.
And I think that helped playing as Megalon in the long run too, because it just made him seem like more on equal footing with the other monsters. Whereas like if it were like Showa Megalon, I would be like, dude, nah.
So I'm with you on a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I think there's room for improvement, but overall very graphically appealing.
Yes, good art style.
Yeah. So why don't we move into the gameplay?
Sure.
This is where I kind of think the game, there was definitely room for improvement here. However, like I understand that the GBA was very limited on buttons and what you could do. I just feel like maybe there's a better way to go about what they were doing, because it's like some of the specials you had to hold like L and A and B, some
Yeah.
just A and B, some of them are A and B, and like those buttons do other things. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I think there was room for improvement. Like it responded well. When you wanted to punch, you punched. When you wanted to kick, you kicked. When you wanted to jump, if you press the right button, you jump. It was responsive well, but like I don't know, it's just, and I kind of blame it more on the GBA than the game itself, because
Right.
what more could you do? But it didn't play perfectly. It didn't play the way I wanted to play.
Yeah, it felt like a little basic. I thought everything handled well. I thought everything felt good. But yeah, I think and I agree with what you're saying. I think not the fault of the game. I think more just like the system that they're working with. Like it kind of sucks like to do some of your specials. You gotta like hold a button and charge.
Yeah.
Like and then release it like as opposed to like maybe doing like if you had more buttons available, you could maybe get around that.
Yeah.
But I think but also I kind of feel like, this is not a game I go into expecting to be like the best Godzilla game ever. And so I was happy with what it was. I thought it was fun. It makes like, I want to get the Japanese version. I want to play that and like play like a little bit more. So I think I take that as a very good sign that I enjoyed the gameplay. I think again, just kind of going back to what I said a few minutes ago, I think my only real problem with the gameplay is that I thought it was like a little bit too easy up until you get to Mecha King Ghidorah. Even though like, we were kind of fumbling around trying to learn the specials like on the fly and stuff like that, and I kind of felt like I didn't actually need them to like sometimes beat.
I felt like just
people at
charging up
once.
your kick or your punch was like the way to go.
Yeah, and so like when a game's like that, it's like I don't love that. I want to use all the skills and moves that are available to me, and I want to feel like I need all those to beat the game. So I don't want to just like spam a move and win. Like I feel like that's it's too bad when I feel like that's like the case. So like I'm not entertained by that. You know what I mean? Like but I didn't think it was like that bad. I just thought it was just something that could have been better. Unfortunately, we were not able to do the versus modes. I wish you could just do like the up to 4 player.
We only had one GBA.
We only had one GBA, yeah, and but it'd be cool if like you could kind of do what you could do like in Godzilla Save the Earth, where it's like you could do the Fatal 4-Ways, but with like bots. I think that would have gone a long way to adding some replay value to this. So, but either way, like I liked the game a lot. It was fun. Like I said, if the fact that I want to buy the Japanese version and play through that for the differences, I think. Where am I at with this?
I know where I'm at, but one more thing I want to touch on was, again, the mini games were stupid and kind of dragged on for too long. The main game, like the gameplay, I thought was like perfectly fine. Didn't have a problem with the balancing because like it kept on adding layers to like what you have to do, like 1-on-1 versus then 2-on-1, then 1-on-3. Like it kept on evolving, so it made the most of the limits that it had, basically the system had for it. So I think that was overall good. And we'll get to the boss battle, but
actually, that's just what I was about to segue to because that just popped back in my head.
Like I feel like we should rank that separately, but
okay.
I think with overall gameplay, I'm going to give this a 3, right down the middle. It was not displeasing. If anything, it was better than what you'd expect, but there's room for improvement, and most of that's just on the system limitations.
I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit. I'm gonna give it a 3 until you get to the final boss.
Okay, yeah. I just feel like we should separate the two because like next we'll just talk about the boss fight. So you just fight a fucking enormous, like you're already a 50 or 100 meter tall monster, and you're fighting Mecha King Ghidorah, who's fucking like 600-700 meters
with
tall.
This
just,
like wild moving space background in the back, and like you're on some weird platform.
And I've always known this was like the final boss. I've seen it before, but I've never played it until now. And it was just so awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. It looks amazing. This is the best looking part of the game.
I equated it to the end of Final Fantasy IV when you fight Zeramis. It looked and felt like that. And the music, which will be next, like this boss fight is It's like fantastic.
It was challenging, but not in a frustrating way. It was challenging in a like we knew nothing about the fight going into it. We went completely blind, and we just figured out what to do.
Yeah, I mean, we died a bunch of times to him.
It was it was truly trial and error, and every time I died, it wasn't like, oh fuck this game. It was like, give me another chance.
Yeah,
it was like I want to keep going.
It's one of those like perfect. You know what it is too? It's like because like when we did figure out the boss fight, like to finish the boss fight, it's only like about like 3-4 minutes. It's not long. Even. Yeah, you know, it's like
once I figured it out, I was like, this is it.
It's but I mean, it's like you're not losing like a ton of time. Like you're not going through like a 20-minute fight and then dying. It was going, like I got to start over. Like
our losses were like 3-4 minutes, but once I figured it out, it was like a 2-minute. Like, I was over pretty quick.
But I mean, it's like that's a nice thing with like a boss fight like that, where it's like it's challenging, but it's fast.
Yeah.
So even if you're dying, you're not losing a ton of time. You're kind of getting right back into it, and nice little quality of life, unlimited continues type thing going on and stuff. Like,
I was very worried about that.
Yeah, it's you know, when I was like a little kid and did not have as much to do in my life, you know, I could get by with like, okay, you've only got 3 continues and then you got to come back to this. Yeah, I didn't like it either. Like, you know,
Ninja Turtles arcade game. I never beat it as a kid. I got to Shredder and died and ran out of continues, and it was like
that is soul crushing. That is soul crushing
because they add extra levels in that game, so it's super fucking long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But like every game, like, and this is not like you're just not a good thing if you need like unlimited continues. It's just it's a quality of life thing. It's like
you knew nothing about the game going into it.
Yeah, it's like you got also like, you know, you got shit going on in life. You know, not everybody, like as you get older, you get more responsibilities. Like you don't have all the free time to dedicate into like going on like a replaying like a 6-7 to 10 hour game with like a handful of continues. Like you need that quality of life stuff, and I appreciate that, like this game did that. It made it feel like I was hanging out with a good friend with that boss fight. It was a warm feeling, that boss fight.
You were hanging out with a good friend then. But like overall, like the fight was just so fun. I had a great time playing.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I beat him, it was like beating your first dragon in Elden Ring. Or like
we kept calling him an Elden Ring boss.
Yeah, or like when I first beat the Nameless King, it really like sunk in. I was like, yes, this was a great game.
Yeah. Well, I've never played Elden Ring, but I've played Dark Souls, so
yeah,
it was like being a Dark Souls boss. It was fun.
Like not like like it's like beating like I forget the 2 people, like Mo and
Is this back in Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, yeah, the 2 gold guys who one of them gets big after you beat the first one.
Oh, yeah.
It's the first real challenging boss fight of that game.
Yeah. I haven't played Dark Souls in forever.
But like, I don't know. I thought overall Mecha King Eater being enormous and a challenge was the perfect way to end this game. Absolutely 5 stars, 6 stars if it was in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, so if you play the Japanese version of the game, it's 6 stars.
Sure. We're breaking the rating scale for this.
Yeah, as the boss battle gets 5 stars, and I think it retroactively makes my gameplay score 4 stars. Because
cool. I'm sticking with 3.
Because once I got to that boss battle, I was like, okay. I was like, this is sick. This is fun. And
like, again, I want to go back and play it again. I should have done a save state just so I could play it at any time I want, but I didn't. We didn't do any save states. We didn't do any bullshit. We played it blind going in and vanilla, and it was great.
Well, the GBA doesn't do save states. I don't know what you're talking about. So that leaves us with the soundtrack.
Yeah. So
take us away.
One of the first things that I noticed about games, especially from this time period, is like the soundtrack is really like it matters.
Yep.
Like if the soundtrack sucks, you could just like mute it in the options menu and then put on like a CD or something, and so you're good. But like for a game like this, it's like no, you need the sound on because there's no way to mute it. You're in a handheld system. So the soundtrack really matters for a game like this, and it kicked fucking ass.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah,
it had some rockers.
Yeah, this felt like I don't remember it's 2 brothers. I think it's the ones that like they're always like they do those like amazing soundtracks like the LGN games. Even though like the LG games they like do the soundtrack to like suck, but like the music is like incredible. Like, the
I
Silver
love
Sur-
LJN music.
No, I'm saying the games suck, but the music is awesome. Like the Silver Surfer and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like-
I'll defend A Nightmare on Elm Street, but like the rest of it, I'm with you.
Yeah, but it's like I forget the guy's name, but he did all those like really awesome like kick-ass soundtracks like to all those like LGN games.
Yeah.
And like Jay Kaufman's work like kind of reminds me of like those stuff where it's like the kind of proggy like proggy rock like like lots of good catchy melody driven stuff like, and then like or like with some like kind of as thrashy as like Super Nintendo like chiptunes can get, but like kind of some thrashy riffs, but like just like a lot of like very smart like music like composed video game pieces of music that are like really heightened like every level.
It gave me like Halloween, Gamma Ray, like,
yeah,
like bands like that, like vibes. It was like rocking, thrashy power metal type.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah,
and that's right in my wheelhouse. So, Jake Kaufman like kicks ass. Great soundtrack on this game. Way better than it had to be.
Oh, absolutely.
It could have been worse, and it would have been fun.
What was it? Was it the Mecha King Ghidorah level where it was like you were like, oh, I'm gonna like record a cover of this theme, or was it one of the other levels?
It was either the ice level or the Mecha King Ghidorah level, but I was like, the music for the boss fight rules.
Yeah. Also, I love the end credits theme as well. It was like all these like kind of like thrashy riffs and stuff like that. And it was like, but it was like very like 90s style thrashy, where it's like, where it's like the old school, just like standard tuning, thrashy riffing style stuff. And I was like, all right, it's like how like not too long ago, like we were watching like Metallica play like Blackened live. And we were just
from like '89, the Justice.
Yeah,
Tour.
and it's like this is all like standard tuning, but it's like just so heavy, heavy, and it's like just give me like those vibes. And I was like, yeah, this is cool.
But yeah, one of the, if like you could go on YouTube and like just listen to the soundtrack for yourself, and you'll know what I mean. But like playing the game to it is much better. So
also, it's got like that Super Nintendo like synth package, which I always like love the sound of like the cymbals and the crashes from the Super Nintendo era.
Yeah.
they all sound like China's kind of.
Like I go back and forth between Super Nintendo and Genesis on which like sounds I like better. Like sometimes stuff just sounds better on the Genesis. Like sometimes it just sounds better on the Super Nintendo.
The Genesis has like just like a distinct sound.
Right, but I'm just saying like, a game like Mortal Kombat sounds better on the Genesis, but like there's no way Final Fantasy IV sounds nearly as good on the Genesis.
I think if the Genesis sound chip was a band, it would be like this like really cool metal band through the 90s that then would turn into a new metal band with those sounds. Yeah. Like Genesis would go on to become like Motograder. I don't know if anyone's going to get that reference, but
maybe Genesis goes on to do like, Video Games Live.
Maybe. Super Nintendo goes on to be probably, I can't think of a good comparison here. It's like
Super Nintendo is like Guns N' Roses. They all go off and do their own things for a little while.
They all kind of come back.
Then they come back
for the GBA.
When it's time to make money.
Yeah, they come back for the GBA to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
They're all reuniting for the new Switch online GBA stuff.
Yeah, which is fucking fantastic, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely do that. Minish Cap, great game.
So I think no doubt here. I think we're both 5-starring the soundtrack, right?
Absolutely. There was no way it was not getting a 5-star from me. Like it was one of the first things I noticed about the game, and I was very happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess all that's left is to give our overall ranking in terms of other, we gave Saves the Earth has been our 5-star standard bearer for video games, and I think was it Godzilla 2 that was our 1? Yeah.
Sorry, Kiwi.
Yeah, sorry, Kiwi.
But great job on that meme for Slick.
That was it's been making the rounds in a couple Discord channels and Twitter again.
Good stuff.
So, yep. Slick the clown.
No, I just thought,
No, it's funny.
Really?
I like it. The first time she did it, I had the very out loud LOL. I was like, that was so good. And every subsequent time, I have also LOL'd. I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
For the record, I don't think you're a clown. I just thought the meme was funny.
I like that it says I'm a mysterious clown. Also, we do have to play that game because it is technically, it's a game called Circus Caper, and it has Mothra is in that game.
All right.
So that's a real deep cut, is what that one is.
Cool.
But so what is this one? Wait, who's going first in our ranking?
Doesn't matter. Want to flip the pick?
No, I'll just go.
Okay.
I'll just go.
We're gonna do a bit.
I'm flipping a guitar. Really torn between 3 and a 4.
So to explain, while you mull this one over, a 5 is a main eventer, world champion. You know, you're Tony Onoki. A 1 is your lowly jobber, a Johnny Valiant. You know,
Disco Inferno.
Disco Inferno, yes. And then 2, 3, and 4, various level of mid card. Your 2 guys, you know, an underneath guy.
Mm-hmm.
Your 3 is a mid carder. Maybe gets a nice little mid card title run here or there, tag title run. 4 is like a sub main eventer, like almost there, young guy who could be the main event someday. But 5's like what you really want to strive for.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good because like that helped me buy some time. I got there in my head really quick.
Cool.
I got there and said to myself, I said, this was marketed as a companion piece to Shirelle Monsters Melee. And we gave that a 4. And this is certainly...
I gave it a 5.
Oh, actually, yeah. Did I give it a 5? I might have given it a 4.
I think you gave it a 4 and I gave it a 5. I think we both agreed with Save the Monsters.
Save the Earth.
Save the Earth was a 5, though.
Yeah. And so I do think this is just 1 star right below the Shirelle Monsters Melee. So it's a very good 3. Very positive 3. It's a nice companion piece to the Atari Pipeworks games.
Exactly.
So,
and you know, I've picked up Destroy All Monsters Melee here and there, like a couple times in the past few months. Just, you know, I got my video game room set up with my original Xbox over there. And, love going back to it. It's such a fun game. And everything you said was right. It's just a notch below what that game is, but like for what it is, if you know you go on a trip or something in 2002, 2003, and you got that game, you're having a great time. I'm giving this a 4.
Okay.
Like it's up there. I think it's awesome.
So we're consistent. We're both 1 star below.
Yeah.
Where we ranked Melee. Yeah. So, in the infamous quote from Beyond the Mat, it's not Denzel, but it's Denzel's
friend. Could be Denzel's friend, yeah.
It's Denzel's friend.
I was going to say that earlier when something you said, and I let it go.
Well, we got it through here. We got it here. One of the greatest quotes in Beyond the Mat was that. But
gonna do it, huh?
So yeah, so that was that. You know, Godzilla's future on Nintendo's handhelds get a little rocky after this, as it goes on to Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash or something like that in the DS. Not this game. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Not this game.
You get any figs?
I did because, you know, we did the Penance Purchase last week. Which, you know, is going to be a new thing that if neither of us have gotten anything over the course of 2 weeks, maybe some weeks I'm going to intentionally throw it so I can just do a Penance Purchase. Although that's going to be difficult for me. But so the new rules of the Penance Purchase are if one of us has not purchased something for that episode, we're going to fire up the old eBay app, or I guess we do Mercari or whatnot if whatnot pays us some money, but I'll start endorsing that. But and you know, the other person will say a character and a number, and the other person who is making penance will have to go to that number listing and buy it now. So we're going to set a price limit. I think I did $20 last week. So,
I think that's a good number.
Yeah, there's no need to be absurd about this. So you know, I think a nice little $15-$20 range is totally fine.
Totally.
So
This will keep me honest because I've missed out on probably 70% of these.
And also, it's a great way to just get some random things in your collection.
But like, I look around and like a lot of my collection is Godzilla shit now, and it's like, so I've done a ton of purchases, but it's just like I feel like I miss out a lot too. So this will keep me good.
Yeah. So I did the first Penance Purchase last week, and you chose Ibra for me as the character, and I forget whatever number you said. But
13.
That resulted in you get 13. That's right.
So orange, 13, Taz.
So that resulted in me getting an Ibra finger puppet, and I already forgot who manufactures these, but I have a whole bunch of these at home. This is actually good. This is plugging a hole in my finger puppet collection. This is from the 90s. This is like when they were cast in like really hard plastic with like sharp edges and shit like that. But also don't have a lot of Ibra. Ibra is a very underrepresented character in terms of merchandise. I do have some Ibra figures, but not nearly to the volume that I have everybody else.
$14.99 a pound at the supermarket.
That I know, just like stuff them and call them Ibra. So I'm very happy to have this finger puppet. It was a good first Penance Purchase. But did you get anything before we move on to the main event?
Great, thank you for saying that. I did get something, but not for me. So I just pointed a gun at him. So I got, your birthday's coming up, so I'm gonna do it.
Oh, a little live birthday gift exchange.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, one is TNA Impact on the Nintendo Wii.
I feel like that's something like when I saw it, I was like, yeah, perfect.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that there was a TNA game on the Wii.
Me neither. I was gonna get to you in like the PS2 or something, or PS3.
No, this is much better because I still play the Wii all the time.
I know you do, so that's why when I saw that, I was like, nope.
Oh well, that's fucking fantastic. Thank you for that. You get a little shirt ski?
So a few weeks ago, I asked you, I was like, oh, what size shirt do you wear? And I said it was because I was going to get you an Exodus shirt. I lied. It was for this.
Oh, how fucking clever of you. Oh, it's a fucking Godzilla versus Megalon shirt.
Yeah.
In nice canary yellow. I need more color in my wardrobe. This is fantastic.
I feel like when you mow your lawn, you can put that on and...
No, I wear this shit at work.
Or that too.
On my remote days? You kidding? I wear all sorts of Godzilla shirts on my remote days. Going to teams, like people are like, oh, you got a new Godzilla shirt. Well, thank you very much for this.
Yeah.
This is fucking fantastic.
I got a very you movie. I could have done any Godzilla movie.
Well, again, Godzilla vs. Megalon was the life-changing movie.
I know.
So
that's why I chose that.
I'm actually really excited to play this fucking TNA game.
I have a Wii, and like I could have put it in to like test that it works. I didn't. So like,
God, I hope it is so reliant on motion controls. I really do.
What you stop? You're just saying that because I can't. But I also got something else too.
Yes, it was also your birthday.
Yes.
In the recent past.
We're both February boys. And so you got me this. I don't have any Zilla representation, but I do now. This is the Taco Bell one, right?
Yes.
Carl's Jr.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Taco Bell. So it's Godzilla 98. It's on the Rocky stand type of thing. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, very very good detailed figure for a Taco Bell Happy Meal toy. It's you can move his torso, you can move his tail.
Super 7 would charge you $17.99.
This just would cost you I don't know how much should a Taco Bell cost?
Back then probably like $3.99 for like a free taco meal or something like that.
$3.99 and 20 minutes off your life, probably.
Oh, but it's all at the end. So.
It's all at the end. They're not quality minutes anyway. So yeah.
A+. No, I have a Zilla figure. I'm good. It goes right next to my little guys on my TV stand. As
one who actually does have a fair amount of Zilla figures, I will say, and I'm counting Godzilla Jr. from the series as a different character. In terms of Godzilla 98 characters specifically, that is actually my favorite one of what I have. Overall favorite of the Godzilla 98 universe is by Carl's Jr. Godzilla Jr. figure. I love that one.
I like the mug figure. That's a cool one.
Oh, the cup holder?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, do I have two of those? No, I just have one.
But hopefully soon we get another Zilla figure.
Oh, should have covered that in the news part. The Bandai, did you see that? That was down to 3 figures?
Yep.
Or 3 potential figures. Rose Biollante, Des Ghidorah, and Zilla. Specifically,
Cascador.
what was that?
Cascador.
Well, there's your new Twitter handle.
It's been there for like 2 weeks.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I was thinking of your Discord stuff. I mean, Des Ghidorah would be nice because what is already out there is like extremely expensive and rare. Or not rare, but just extremely expensive. But I like how it's specifically Final Wars Zilla is how they're branding it.
Yeah.
But either way, I think that is what we need.
It's the same thing.
That is what we need. We do need that Zilla figure. I mean,
that's what I want.
There is already Zilla merchandise, but there needs to be something in this Bandai Movie Monster Series line.
Yeah, because I feel like they do a good job with it, and getting something like that kind of would be like...
Yeah. Well, I fully expect them to do what they typically do, and...
assume get Des Ghidorah's winning?
No. I meant if we got Zilla, like, the detail is going to be incredible, and the paint is going to be half-assed. But,
sure.
But, you know, I can kind of live with, like, haphazard paint if the detail is awesome. So, that's why Varan didn't bother me, because, like, Varan's detailed so well.
It looks way better in person than it did in the internet pictures.
Oh, for sure. It's super detailed. Yeah, like, the paint isn't great. Like, or with, like, the Godzilla Jr. from the Gigan Rex thing. Detail's incredible. Paint's a little suspect. But, like, I don't care. If it's super detailed, that's what takes priority to me. And again, the Movie Monster series is not an expensive series. It's like, you know, these things bounce between like $15 and $20 and stuff like that. And it's like, Playmates does a better job with paint, but, you know, they don't always do a great of a job with detail.
No.
Yeah. But, you know, so it's like, for something that's like kind of like in the Playmates price range, like, I'm totally fine with the way these things come out. So
yeah. Well, either one. I think I'm in for whether it's Des Ghidorah or Zilla.
Yeah.
It's Biolante's the other one, right?
The Rose form, right. Biollante. Because
fine.
We did just get a Movie Monster Series Biollante a couple like 2 or 3 years ago.
And I don't have any Biolantes, so I guess it's cool, but like the other two intrigue me more.
Mm-hmm. The Movie Monster Series one for the Biollante we got a couple years ago is good, you know, but like Bandai did a Biollante figure in the 90s, and like even in like the 90s that was like people were like that shit was going for like $150 in the 90s on the aftermarket. It wasn't what like Bandai was charging, but like importers were just like, the demand for it was so extreme.
Yeah.
Like that was like the grail figure. I remember like in the early to mid 90s when it got released. It was just like, there were a handful of Bandai figures back then that were just like, you know, people were charging crazy prices and getting people to pay crazy prices for it. Was like, is that Biollante figure, the Baragon one that they released, which still goes for a pretty decent price. The Godzilla 62 one, which also still goes for a pretty decent price, but like, yeah, that Biollante one was always getting a high value from the importers on the aftermarkets. So was Batra too. Anything Batra related was getting a lot of money. Well, Bandai figures were just like, they were huge back then. Like they were super detailed and well painted.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a bunch from that era. Like that's like the gold standard of shit right there to me. And yeah, it's just like, you know, so it was nice to get like the Biollante Movie Monster Series one. I don't think I really want a Rose form one. If it looks good, I might get it. But
it's a clear 3 for me.
It's just, I feel like there's been enough. I feel like Zilla and Des Ghidorah are not characters that get a lot of figure representation recently.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I would rather see them get the nod, particularly Zilla. But so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm in on Zilla, Desghidorah, and then distant third is Biolante.
Hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's also. I was kind of disappointed to see Biolante, the Rose form, win.
Yeah.
Actually, so.
What would you have rather seen in there instead?
I think like Gabbro was in there. I would have liked to seen Gabbro win or be part of the final three, but it's just wasn't in the cards this year.
Yeah.
Wasn't in the cards.
Wasn't Gabber's year?
It wasn't. But you know what? Varane took a whole year to come back and came back swinging. So
Maybe next year.
hope will be there for Gabbro. We need to have a little grassroots movement.
Maybe
for
they
Gabbro.
can do like a 2-pack of like Gabbra and Mignola.
Yeah, just him punching action.
Yeah.
Just like the old Hasbro WWF figures.
Yeah, just like
where it's like the Jake
twisty punch.
Yeah,
guy.
I would buy 10 of those.
Just have one in every room.
Yeah, exactly. Just everywhere I go, like my bathroom would have one.
You're having a modern constitution and you just go.
Yep, I would just not get enough of it. But there is one more purchase to discuss.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties to what we were just talking about.
It's
So
the money shot of the figure section.
So back on Godzilla Day last year, a number of things were released that day, and one special pre-order came up. It was the chocolate version of Hedorah.
A lot of nerve calling it that.
Well, it released on or around Valentine's Day, and so I put that pre-order, and I said, when it comes, it comes. And over the last couple of weeks, it came. So the funny thing about this figure, it has taken the internet by storm because it looks. Everyone has kind of been referring to this as, looks like Hedorah has been involved in a sexual encounter. So I'm trying to be somewhat decent about it. I like how everyone who's reviewed this figure has everyone has just made wink wink nudge nudge jokes about what this looks like.
There's no way you can't.
Yeah, I know, and it's I feel like I enjoy contributing to that as well. But I showed this when this came. I showed this to my wife, and I said, "What do you think of this figure?" And she played right into it, jumped right into it. She's like, "That's what they did, huh? That's what they did." So, but
I like how you phrased that when it came.
But all right, so for 30 seconds of seriousness, putting that aside,
which is what I did almost immediately when I saw this.
It was like, even though it's so oddly, what the hell's his name that he uses on the podcast in our Discord chat? Space Bones Jackson.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So won't use his shoot name on the podcast, but former guest of the podcast. I remember when this showed up. I put a
He's
picture
a real
of it.
R shyster.
I put it. I don't know what that means. Okay.
Herwin.
Oh. Well, that was dumb of me that I didn't get that. So now we did use his shoot name. But anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, so when this came to the podcast, or when this came to my house, I put it in our podcast Discord chat, and I was just using shoot name again. Spacebones Jackson was like, that's just very disturbing to me, and that's all he said. And but that said, putting the allusions to stuff aside. So this is the same mold that Hedorah has always been. The Bandai Movie Monster series has always been a super detailed mold. There's been a million other repaints of this figure, but this is this looks great though with
it's
this
the raging
paint scheme.
climax. Really,
it's it looks fantastic. It's cast in a much more glossy vinyl. Than the other ones are not in this glossy kind of finish. And so it really makes all the details stick out. And the color scheme is just obviously it's supposed to look like vanilla chocolate dripping on top of regular chocolate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, because I feel like the memeness of this figure has probably made this be one of the most popular and sought after Bandai Movie Monster series figures the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because, and again, it just It just looks very sexual. So there's no way around it. But very eye-catching figure, very detailed figure, very well painted figure. This will go down in history as a
Sure.
legendary
This is awesome.
figure.
I got a 5 out of 5 from me. Just like, it's so detailed, it looks great, and it's covered in fucking white stuff.
It sure is. Just a fantastic figure.
It is the Lisa Ann of Hedera figures, and I love it.
So I'm gonna have to. I have not actually figured out a place where I think I'm going to make some room on one of my more prominent shelves in my office to keep this displayed.
Didn't you say you're going to bring it over in a sock?
I did say that. I did not do that, but
You did.
I did say that.
It's a good joke.
It was a good joke. It was a good joke. But so yeah, I mean that's all I could say.
Yeah.
It was a good figure. Good
Yeah.
purchase. Happy I have it.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a real good one.
Yeah. They should do more of these. They should do a whole line of these chocolate themed
The fucking Biollante Godzilla figure.
I mean, that's money on the table right there.
It's money. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my big purchase for the week. But I already get 2 in the mail for next week.
Excellent.
So there'll be no Penance Purchase on me next week.
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna stay away from the eBay because I feel like at this point, if I want something off eBay, I'll get it. But chances are I'm not gonna do it. So I'll save the eBay stuff for a Penance Purchase. So I won't look at eBay or Mercari or anything like that or whatnot. I'm not looking for influencer cred.
I don't really look for anything or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just another pod that we both enjoy. Loves to rep that whatnot. So
Yeah, good for them though. They got in early. What are we doing for the next episode? Are we just gonna chill?
yeah, we'll just chill. Put a little poll up. We'll let the people decide again.
Sure.
We'll work on the fly like that. We book on the fly.
Booking on the fly. All right.
Calling it on the fly.
Cool. So we're not gonna say one thing and do another thing next episode.
No.
Sorry.
No.
But anything you want to leave a listener with?
Yeah. I tried to think of something, but nah.
I can't believe he lied about being on MTV Cribs.